guaranteed to win a new Toyota Tacoma every Saturday in September. Only at Hard Rock Hotel and Casino, Sacramento.
In 2021, the 31st annual Chalk It Up Chalk Art and Music Festival is back at Sacramento's Fremont Park and all around town. Hundreds of volunteer chalk artists will bring their passion for chalk art to your pavement, all to empower and support the next generation of Sacramento artists and the programs that inspire them. Become or sponsor an artist or volunteer Labor Day weekend, September 4th through the 6th at Fremont Park and around the town. Visit chalkitup.org to volunteer and get involved.
This report is sponsored by their Labor Day sales event at the Roseville Auto Mall. We've got thousands of new and factory-certified pre-owned vehicles to choose from, and they're all on sale. Don't miss this epic Labor Day sale at the Roseville Auto Mall. Driven to be the best.
Viviendo la comunidad, cambiando vidas.
En la música desde República Dominicana, Altares. No te esperes a última hora. Compra tu boleto ya, llamando al 916-999-1240. Aparta la fecha, sábado 9 de octubre, Radio Santísimo Sacramento celebra su 10º aniversario.
At 866-807-4250 or visit allworthfinancial.com/workshop.
Toyota's national sales event is on. Hurry in to get $750 cash back on 6 of Toyota's most popular models. It all ends Tuesday. Toyota, let's go places. Cash back is available through GMNA and must be applied to transaction. Excludes RAV4 hybrid. Offers end 9/7/21.
Landlords with tenants who haven't paid rent because of COVID-19 are eligible for 100% reimbursement too. The application is fast, your information is private, and you won't be asked about citizenship. Apply at housingiskey.com before eviction protections end on September 30th. Brought to you by the California Department of Housing and Community Development.
And paid for by the Sentinel Group, non-attorney spokesperson. Need collision repair? Call Bertolucci's Body Shop.
Live, local.
Just put your completed ballot in the postage-paid envelope, sign the back, and return by mail, at a Dropbox, or in person. Learn more at vote.ca.gov.
Music news.
KKEO HD1 Faro.
Home to the two.
Let's get ready to rumble! Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports. Coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C. And a lot of good old boys all across the country. I want to say bienvenidos to all of our listeners in Latin America, also across the pond in London, England, as well as Paris, France. Of course, we love you in Canada and Africa, the Big C tribe. But there's no one we love more than the good old boys across the country, in the land of the free and the home of the brave on the beautiful September the 2nd, 2021. Grand Deportes, bonjour, vice. This station is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And you go by and test drive yours, tell them Charlton hasn't brought back the Escalade. It's all fair, and I'm not bringing it back. They thought I was saying I was playing so loud in the car, the great actor Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator, when I said I'll be back. Well, I lied. It's all fair and level. I'm not bringing it back. It's all fair and level. Where I want to say today's show is sponsored by Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Escalade, standard of the world. Always go forward, never stop arriving. Also, all around the world, just say Google or Alexa play Big C Sports Podcast. You will hear from our sponsors. You will hear, let's get ready to rumble. Welcome to the show. I will introduce myself as a sports universe, and I really do appreciate the way things are going with Big C Sports. You can follow Big C Sports on the iHeartRadio podcast, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Podchaser, Spotify, Spreaker Podcast. There's so many apps that I really do appreciate the way things are growing with Big C Sports Podcast. On television, you can follow Big C Sports on Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon and Fire TV, and a lot of smart TVs all over the universe. But you better have a smart TV You'll be sitting there looking at a still picture. Man, I love pausing. But I will never pause on our Veterans Crisis Hotline. They really are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones get their groove back. How Stella got the groove back? Get the groove back for our veterans. Pick up the phone. Call 800-273-8255. That's 800-873. Actually, 800-273-8255. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. I'm going to do this really slow for some people who say I talk too fast. I say they listen too slow. Pick up the phone. You can also go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. And you can get some help for our veterans and their loved ones if they don't fall asleep while you read them. I can't talk slow. I do everything fast. I drive fast. I eat fast. I snore fast. I go to sleep fast. I do everything fast. I was known as the fastest guy in the universe at one time when I was back in high school. All fair level war. Very happy to be affiliated. Did you do anything fast? Anybody on my team? Can I get an amen? I said, can I get an amen? Amen. Amen. A lot of good old boys doing things fast. It's not just Charlton. Very happy to be affiliated with Valley Homes Weekly TV on Dish TV, Direct TV, AT&T Uverse, TV of the now second place San Francisco Giants. Man, I feel like I gotta eat a lot of crow. Is it tasty, bro? Man, crow is a taste. I guess I'm eating crow. My LA Dodger friends. I got some people that say, hey, Charlton, how them Giants looking now? It's all fair and level war. They're only a half game out. It's all fair and level war. Home of the second place San Francisco Giants. Home the say hey kid and the home run king. You want to hit home runs? You want to be the home run king of Major League Baseball? Eat more spinach. Ain't that right, Barry Bonds? Eat more spinach. When you reach out to them, just tell them Big C sent you. Our goal is simple. Recruit 10,000 real estate agents and brokers all over this great country, helping to put people back to work. Just like McDonald's does it, car dealerships are doing it, sports teams are doing it. Watch TV and real estate work for you. 800-772-8624. If you're looking for opportunities in real estate, go to BigCSports.PACWM.com. Most of the loans are underwritten by Rocket Mortgage and United Wholesale Mortgage, the number 1 and 2 lenders in the country on the wholesale side. Also, I want to say thank you to Xfinity, Comcast TV, and Comcast Spotlight for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Just like God said in Genesis 1:3, let there be light. Open your cell phone and say, why does this guy talk so fast? Say play Big C. Okay, and for you older people or younger people that like everything slow, open your cell phones and say play Big C Sports Podcast. I know a pastor who talks that way. Man, everybody's in sleep. He kept saying, I want everyone to turn to Genesis chapter 3 and verse 1, where God said, man, speak faster. That's what God said, let there be light. You know, God must speak fast because the earth spins around fast. When you hear thunder and lightning, that comes across fast. That's not slow. When you hear the water rushing through the mountain, it doesn't rush slow, it rushes fast. Everything God does is fast. That's why everything God do is fast. Like Lightning McQueen. Lightning McQueen's real fast. The movie Lightning McQueen, all fair and level war. Also, I want to say thank you for this segment sponsored by Budweiser Zero. It has 0% alcohol, but 100% on your game. You can be 100% on your game with all fair and level war. In that good old boy, Budweiser Zero, it goes great with the Big C burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with, what's all this exotic meats? The great exotic meats. Speaking of crow, may add to the Big C burger. I've been eating crow all day. Everybody in blue is calling, hey, Charlton, how about them Giants? When the Giants come to town, it's bye-bye, baby. Yeah, how about them Giants? It's only a half game back. In fact, they have a big series coming up over the weekend with those LA Dodgers. I can't wait to see that game. Or those games, that series is going to be amazing. But the Big C burger, it's a tasty burger, and it comes with, what's all this exotic meats? The great Sam Jackson All fair and Leavenworth. I really do appreciate. Let's get ready to rumble! Big C Sports Podcast, SP nominated Big C Sports Podcast, the #1 sportscast podcast in the universe. The reason why SP nominated, and I mean this for all you sponsors, I told you, that $10 million check is coming. It's coming around the mountain, but it's coming. It's coming, in fact, it's coming, I can tell. Anybody hear those words? It's coming around the mountain, but you come. It's coming around the mountain, but you come. It's coming around the mountain. It's coming. Come on through. $10 million. What's that show? Oh, man, I think it's Let's Make a Deal, God. Come on now. The great Bob Barker used to say, let's make a deal. Come on. No script. He able that. No teleprompter. Say, yeah, I can tell the no producer out here. Somebody saying, you know, somebody I would say, all fair and level work. If you're putting yourself on a lot to do, you're trying to send yourself, don't get the part, don't use it for the media land. But anything is a part of the stuff out of mind. And that's how people create conversations. They're yourself, the media land. That's how you talk to God, all fair and level work. But I'm telling you, producers, I'm always I'm at my kind of dating, all dating in the past. You got that $10 million, you get the last one time. I do this number 2, I do topic. Number 3, I broadcast shows. Number 4, do the other thing. Number 5, a commercial. Here's Johnny, I do the commercial. Number 6, I buy this. I do the Saturday. Like the Lakers, the team, the FC, and everything. College football out of the Pac-10 at that time. Or at the Pac, the running backs. Some guy would actually run the ball and get half a yard. So what if I give him a yard? That many, instead of running for a 99.5 versus the game, they just run up to 100. So some of you Pac-12 guys that got drafted, you can thank Big C Sports for it. All fair in Leavenworth. Don't take away yards, add it. Just round up. I do the storytelling. Is this the man who wrecked the buffet at the Hair Club this morning? Is this the man who disabled an unmarked police car with a banana? The great Eddie Murphy, all fair in Leavenworth. I quote Bible verses. There's a Bible verse that I heard about long time ago. My mother used to always say, she said, give your heart to God and your backside to me. Whenever we did wrong, I never found that in the Bible. I'm like, Mama, how'd you come up with that verse? I've been looking and I was searching the Bible like Denzel was walking in the book of Eli. I just could not find it. She said, I added that into myself. But I upload every Big C Sports podcast to 15 multiple podcast platforms. 15! Some guys don't upload to anything. They have the producers do it. And number 10, I never missed a show. Since creating Big C Sports September 12, 2015, never missed a show. Even working on vacation. That's worth the $10 million that my sponsor is talking about. Just write the check. Just, what did Nike say? Do it now. Just do it. Big C Sports, sponsored by Just Do It. All fair and Leavenworth. Come on, Uncle Phil. Phil Knight. Write the check. All fair and Leavenworth. The Big C Sports Podcast is the only sports show in the universe that honors God in Genesis 13:15. For all the land that thou seest will I give you, and thy seed forever. It's true, guys. I do it on my own. One black man. All life came from Africa. You can see why. Can't you see why by now? Can't you see why by now? I don't have 40 people on my crew. It's just me flying solo with a guy that's all fair and Leavenworth. Why I asked for the $10 million and I deserve it? Uncle Phil. Look at James 4:2. We have not because we ask not. So just ask. I asked for the $10 million check. You know I deserve it. You know I'm worthy of it. That's why Big C Sports Podcast is SP nominated. If you don't believe it, have anyone you see on TV do what I just told you I do. One black man, not hide behind people, not hide behind the curtain. Number 1, I produce. Number 2, I direct topics. Number 3, I broadcast shows. Number 4, sound effects. Number 5, commercials. I do the sack selling. Number 6, Number 7, I do storytelling. Number 8, I do Bible verses. Number 9, I upload to 15 podcast platforms all over the world and 4 TV platforms all over the world. Some people don't have one TV show. Big C Sports on 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 for some of my friends in the South. It's all fair and level. And I mean that. It's so important that God said, whatever we say is so important when it comes out of our mouths, that God has placed a high priest over it. Death and life in the power of the tongue. Those who love it should eat its fruit. Before I get into the sports, I was talking to everybody needs an ark, like Noah's ark that brought us through the flood. I want to say something to young people, and old people too, but sometimes you can't tell old people anything. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. That's not true. Don't feed that dog and see how well he starts jumping up and down. No, some people say feed your dog just twice a day. Try to feed him not for a day at all. He'll be much more attentive. That's animal cruelty. I say feed dogs at least 4 times a day like people do. There's a group called back in the day the OJs. And one of the greatest musicians or entertainers in the history of the universe. Don't anybody throw darts at me. I do the best I can. I'm not the best singer in the history of the universe. But I want people to keep it in mind, especially with sports coming up this weekend. It's called They Smile in Your Face. They smile in your face all the time. They want to take your place. They're backstabbers. Backstabbers. They're smiling in your face all the time. They want to take your place. They're backstabbers. Backstabbers. It says all you fellas who have someone you really care. Yeah. That is all you fellas who better beware. And you too, women, beware. A few of your buddies, sure they look shady, are long, clenched tight their fists. Amen. I told you don't laugh. They're like, enough, I want my money back. I told you I'm not the OJs. But if you understand, a lot of times people bring their friends into situations so they can take your partner. They got their own crap going on in their own lives, and they're going to get on the phone and tell you how to deal with your own relationship. Their husband's buying prostitutes, beating the crap out of them, and then you're going to ask their advice? Come on, some of them even move out of the house in with the girlfriend. You're going to call that advice? You think she want to bring you some, they smiling in your face. All the time they want to take your place. They're backstabbers. They come to my house again and again and again and again, so they can see what you got. Keep that in mind, people. What can I do to get back on the right track? I wish they'd take some of these knives. I wish they'd take some of these knives out my bag. What they do? They smiling in your face all the time. They want to take your place. They're backstabbers. That's a clue for some people dealing with the backstabbers. They smiling in your face. Got the most jacked up relationships in the universe. And then you bring them into your place? Well, they can try to get your partner? Because the one they had left run out on them? Got enough fires going on between their legs. You think the California wildfire started from them. And I'm being honest. Be careful who you allow into your space. Sometimes they just want to take your place. They're just backstabbers. If they were so happy at home, why they got time to get on the phone with you? With their misery. All's fair in love and war. I want to bring this to a more positive direction. Like, what's going on in his life? I talk to so many people. From pastors, I got arcs all over the place. Everyone has an arc that just tells them the truth. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth. If someone says to you, can I be honest with you? Doesn't that mean they've been lying the whole time? They're backstabbers. They're smiling in your face. The great, I'm telling you, Tyler Perry has a great show called The Oval. One of my favorite TV shows. Oh my God, it's so good. It's like German chocolate cake. It tastes so good. He says it doesn't matter if 1 million people tell you what you cannot do. It doesn't matter if 10 million people tell you no. No! Uncle Phil, cut the check. It's just $10 million. You probably got it in your sock. All you need is one yes from God. Just one. Not one, not two, not three, but one. That $6 billion working on a business partner is manifesting. Last thing I'll say before I get into sports. Okay, I'm going to say this really slow for the people that say, man, Charlton, you talk too fast. How about them Giants, Charlton? Huh? How about them Giants? The second place San Francisco Giants. You can't keep getting mad at people or friends for sucking the life out of you or your relationship because they got their own problems. They would never do to their own relationships what they're doing to yours. And you're dumb enough to keep drinking it. You cannot keep getting mad at the people for sucking the life out of you if you keep giving them the damn straw. The straw's so long, it runs from your house to theirs. They don't even live in the house. But you invite them in. They smiling in your face all the time. They want to take your place. $10 million. All fair and level war. Be careful, kids, when you're going back to college. You're going to have people who want to get with you because they want to get what you got. They don't want to help farm it. They don't want to help produce it, but they want to get what you got. It's all fair and level. We're going to take what's called the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. In the words of the former California governor, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Predator, I'll be back. All right, I'm back from the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on the #1 podcast network in the universe, iHeartRadio podcast. You can follow Big C Sports on Apple Podcasts. You can follow Big C Sports on Google Podcasts. There's so many apps you can follow, and I really do appreciate the way things are growing with Big C Sports. You can follow Big C Sports on Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, and a lot of smart TVs all over the universe. It's ready to have a smart TV. Oh, you've been sitting there looking at a still picture. Man, I love so much what's coming up. College football, got some games tonight. I want to preview some of the games that are actually happening that are going to be big college football games coming up over the weekend. Big C Sports Podcast wants to just talk about some of those great games in the college football universe, just to let people know that we're all over it. Clemson, if they win the ACC again but miss the college football playoffs, if the Tigers don't beat Georgia on Saturday nights in their opening game in Charlotte, they still have a great chance of running the table in the ACC, which they've done 3 times in previous seasons, the previous 6 years, in fact, because the Tigers remain in non-conference schedule. South Carolina State, UConn that just got blasted by Fresno State, I think 45-0, South Carolina, and the fact that they don't even play North Carolina this year, Notre Dame or Miami during their regular season. They may not reach the college football playoffs for a 7th straight season, especially if teams like Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, and Oklahoma finish unbeaten or with only 1 loss. A lot of good things happening. If Clemson loses, they still have an inside track to the ACC title game, all fair and level. The biggest game over the weekend, I won't even say the biggest game, I'll say one of the biggest games. If the University of Miami, that at one time had a 57-game win streak at the Orange Bowl back in the 90s, it was snapped by the University of Washington. I think it was 34-20. Napoleon Kaufman was doing his thing. I think Dennis Erickson was the coach of Miami at that time. But if Miami loses to Alabama and falls off a cliff, they might feel like they've been pushed off a cliff trying to tackle elephants. I know they had the storm coming through the East Coast, but the weather should be good enough. If Miami loses to Alabama, if the Crimson Tide have not only beaten the ACC teams badly in neutral site openers since 2013, they sucked the life out of them for the rest of the season for such openers against West Virginia. In fact, it was Virginia Tech in 2013, Florida State in 2017, Louisville in 2018, Duke in 2019. Alabama won by an average of 30 points. The Seminoles were the only team that stayed within 3 touchdowns. They lost 24-7. That was in Atlanta. Each of those 4 ACC teams, they went on to lose at least 5 games. At least 5 after being trampled by an elephant. You get trampled of an elephant. In fact, this segment is sponsored by the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with, what's all this exotic meat? I can't confirm or deny if elephant is in that meat. You like what you like, I like what I like, all fair level war. But tricky non-conference game against Appalachian State and Michigan State coming next. The Hurricanes better not let the opener get out of hand. It may get out of hand because Bryce Young is the real deal at quarterback for Alabama. I know De'Aaron King is doing his thing for Miami, but I still see it hard for Alabama to stay within 3 touchdowns of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Mike Norvell takes Florida State bowling again. After 3 straight losing seasons, including a 3-6 record in Norvell's first campaign, the Florida State Seminoles should be much improved in year 2. They'll pay a lot of homage to the late Bobby Broughton, who had that program wide right, wide left back in the day, but also won a national title with them. Florida State might open the season playing 2 quarterbacks. University of Central Florida transfer Mackenzie Milton, who's the real deal, and then Jordan Travis. But Norvell figures to settle in on one of them before too long. I like Mackenzie Milton, just my opinion. Florida State went into the transfer portal. Austin the short defense that surrendered 36 points and 453 yards per game in 2020. Former Georgia linebacker Jermaine Johnson and South Carolina defensive lineman. It was Kurt Thomas. Should improve immediately to help that team defensively. The slate is difficult with non-conference games against Notre Dame and Florida, ACC crossover games against Miami and North Carolina. Legendary FSU coach Bobby Bowden liked the program where it was headed on Novella, but we'll see what happens with that program down in the ACC. Should be tough sliding for them, but we'll hope the best for that program. Florida State playing with a little bit of heavy hearts under losing coach Bobby Bowden. I want to go to the Big 12. I'm going to make a couple of predictions, Big C's thoughts on the Big 12 football. There will be at least Big 12 season for Oklahoma and Texas. The last one. That's what some people say. Who knows? It's going to get downright uncomfortable for the Longhorns and Sooners on the road doing the Big 12 play this season. They're going to get booed by a lot of people when they come on the road, realizing that they skipped for greener pastures. A&M did it. Arkansas did it back in the day. Missouri also did it out of that conference alignment. Also, when you think about it, Colorado, they were all part of that Big 8 Southwest Conference gumbo, if you mention it that way. But the Longhorns trip to TCU and Baylor could be very unpleasant, as well as Sooners take a short ride to Oklahoma State for the Bedlam game November 27th. I'm 40, I'm a man. All fair in love and war. But if you think about it, they're going to get booed. Who cares? Just focus on your play. Even Rice's Martin Alban must be licking his chops for a September 18th game, and that game's going to be played in Austin. So everybody's talking about play harder because they're leaving. You got to focus on what you're doing. Don't worry about what the other team's doing, whether they leave to the SEC or not. The Big 12 teams got to find out where they're going to land. Oklahoma makes the CFP but loses again. The Sooners reach the CFP college football playoffs 4 times, losing once under Bob Stoops, and then 3 times under Lincoln Riley. Oklahoma came close to winning a semifinal game after the 2017 regular season. I think their best coach was Barry Switzer when it comes to TV media. I know they had a 57-game winning streak back in the day before Switzer took over, but Switzer made that program more prominent when they went outside the state of Oklahoma and Texas to recruit, getting a lot of kids from California, Jamel Holloway, etc. And then Oklahoma came close to winning a semifinal game after 2017 regular season when they came to the Rose Bowl, and Georgia came from behind with a 54-48 win. Baker Mayfield was injured in that game. It was a 2 overtime at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. Of course, there's no shame in losing number 1 seed Clemson 2015, number 1 seed Alabama in 2018, and number 1 seed in LSU in 2019. But those games weren't very competitive. Oklahoma's getting closer and closer to narrowing that gap in terms of defensive talent. But they'll come up short again in the semifinal season. I feel like this is a great year for the Big 12 teams who have been left behind to realize the OJs, they smiling in your face all the time. They want to take your place. They're backstabbers. They're smiling in your face in the SEC, and Oklahoma and Texas bought it. They could have made a better house out of the home they already had, but they tried to get into another man or woman's bed instead of fixing the one they had. And they're not going to be dominant in that conference in the SEC. All fair in love and war. I want to come to the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. When I come back, we're going to go up to the Big Ten and talk about some of the things that are going on in the Big Ten for college football. And, I mean, there's so much good football happening. Starting tonight, Boise State, Central Florida kicking off. Also, there's a lot more that I'll talk about over the weekend. In the words of the great Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. All right, we're back from the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on the #1 podcast network in the universe, iHeartRadio podcast. You can follow Big C Sports on Apple Podcasts. You can follow Big C Sports on Google Podcasts. There's so many apps you can follow, and I really do appreciate the way things are going with Big C Sports. So many great things happening in the world of sports, and I know everybody has their own opinion about it. It's all fair in Level War. The great Jim Harbaugh as we go to the Big Ten. The Wolverines, they will not beat Ohio State. That's not going to happen. But they'll do enough to ensure that Coach Harbaugh returns for an 8th season in 2022. But keep in mind, the Wolverines won 9 in a row from 1901 to 1909. That's a long time ago as far as championship winning streaks. Michigan's last victory over Ohio State was a 40-34 win. That was November 26th in 2011. Ever since then, they've been smiling in your face all the time. They want to take your place. They're backstabbers. The OJs, all fair and love and war. Nebraska's not going to go bowling. Scott Frost, known for his homecoming at Nebraska, hasn't done what is expected. The Cornhuskers, they need Coach Tom Osborne back in the saddle in politics. The Cornhuskers are 12-21 after Saturday's loss to Illinois. Nebraska used to be the best team in the country. They were going for a three-peat. They had beaten Florida, I think, 65-24 in a bowl game. Tommy Frazier was quarterback back in the day. But things have gone downhill since then. They lost to Illinois. I think that Nebraska, they should have stayed in the Big 8 at the time, Big 12. Wisconsin will be a serious contender for the college football playoffs. Few teams were hampered by COVID-19 as much as the Badgers last season. And people might be sleeping on their chances to make a big statement when you think about schools like Penn State, Michigan, Iowa, and Northwestern at home, and then Illinois, Purdue, Rutgers, and Minnesota on the road. Plus, it does not play Indiana or Ohio State during the regular season. Wisconsin's offense has to be better after averaging its fewest yards and points in 17 years. If quarterback Graham Mertz stays healthy and tailback Jalen Berger is as good as he gets when it comes to Big Ten competition. The Conference of Champions coming out to the West Coast. There's a big game this weekend at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. I know because of COVID and people deciding they want to get vaccinated or not vaccinated, I don't know if they're going to have 80,000 at the Rose Bowl. Maybe they'll get 65,000. But LSU comes to town. UCLA beat up on Hawaii by the score, I think it was 44-10. They didn't even play a lot of their starters in the third quarter. They had 44 points in 3 quarters against Hawaii. But the Pac-12 makes the college football playoff. The Pac-12 teams have grabbed only 2 of the 28 spots that were available in the first 7 editions. Not because the teams aren't good enough, but because of collusion by the voters. Not because they can't compete. They're the winningest college combined in college athletics at any conference in the country by over 200. But the Pac-12 team hasn't been selected to compete in the college football playoffs since Washington lost to Alabama 24-7 in the semifinal game at the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl in 2016. Pac-12 football seemed to be on life support, according to some dumb media people. There are as many people drafted out of the Pac-12 as any conference in college football. Any one of the 5 Pac-12 teams, Arizona State, Oregon, USC, Washington, Utah, will catch lightning in a bottle when you think about it. If they finish 12-1 and become the number 1 through 4 seed for college football playoffs. I want people to keep an eye on the Rose Bowl this weekend because Oregon, when they were winning or competing for national championships every year, Rose Bowl championships, Pac-12 championships under the great Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly has been 11 years since Kelly guided Oregon in his high-flying offense to the national championship game, where the Ducks lost to Auburn 22-19. I thought it was a badly ref game in Auburn's favor. There was a play where the player was down on his knee. Everybody stopped. He got up and kept running, and they gave him a touchdown. Oregon had that game won. Think about this. Wes Bynum's 19-yard field goal as time expired and spent 2 more seasons at Oregon, both before the NFL then came back to UCLA in 2018. So far, I mean, we had COVID. They have a full allotment of scholarships this year. They hadn't had that in the past. The Bruins went combined 10-21 in his first 3 seasons and 10-15 in the Pac-12 play. But this team is different. This team is fast. They're aggressive. They're very physical. They're going to take on LSU this weekend at the Rose Bowl. I think UCLA is going to make a statement in that game. He inherited a mess of a roster from Jim Moore Jr. But the 2021 team is loaded. I mean, they are loaded with inferior players. I really like them. And they are more talented players. If the Bruins get more consistent quarterback play, they could be a legitimate sleeper for a college football playoff, as well as Pac-12 championship. And they'll find out when they play LSU at the Rose Bowl on Saturday night. We should get between 65,000 and maybe 70,000. I know everybody's not vaccinated, so that might keep some people away on the West Coast. Arizona State, The Sun Devils have been largely mediocre under Herm Edwards' tenure so far. It's hard to take away much from last season, 2-2 season. Because of COVID, I won't get under that. But Herm Edwards, we played to win the game. I like what Herm is able to do with college football players. When you think about Arizona State, they have some things happening, looming NCAA investigation into alleged recruiting violations. That's over the head of the programs. Defensive back coach Chris Hawkins, wide receivers coach Prentice Gill, and tight ends coach Adam Brenneman are on administrative leave. So Coach Edwards compared the situation to his inability to hit a curveball as a kid. At times, you must feel like Sandy Koufax is throwing them at all fair and level war. I want to take you down to the SEC because that's a championship conference that's got a lot of teams in the college football playoffs over the year, and no knock on them, they've held their own. Alabama and Georgia played twice. If the Bulldogs defeat Clemson on Saturday night, they'll have a great chance to run the table until they face nemesis Alabama. In the SEC championship game, the Crimson Tide will win that game, but the Bulldogs will get their rematch in the college football, perhaps, but they got to beat Clemson this weekend, and I don't know if they will. That game's played in Carolina. If quarterback JT Daniels, former Modern Day and USC quarterback, plays well against stiffer competition and the offensive line holds up, Georgia's offense should be potent, especially once it gets back tight end Darnell Washington. The Bulldogs' front seven and defense is as talented as deep as any team in college football. The Sooners or later, the football gods have to shine on Georgia. Maybe or maybe not. It's all fair in level war. I think there's so much to be fought over in the SEC football conference. Nick Saban will lose to a former assistant coach. I doubt it. It's no secret that Saban's team that rolled opponents, coached by his former assistant coaches, he's a perfect 23-0 against former coaches. That's impressive, including a 4-0 mark last season. In fact, he's 11-0 against them in the previous 3 seasons combined. All streaks must come to an end, and Texas A&M Jimbo Fisher will take down his mentor for the first time in 5 tries in College Station, Texas, October 9th. I doubt it. We'll just see what happens. I love college football. It's a great game. We're going to have fans back in the stands this year. I hope that people can stay safe with all the rise of COVID-19 and people feeling that maybe, just maybe, that we've gotten through it. You know, I hope that we have, but I know listening to the medical reports, there's still people who don't believe in getting vaccinated, and that's their own opinion. They got to figure out how to get vaccinated. There's a lot of good football games on the scene. Tonight, we got Boise State at University of Central Florida. It's already underway, 7 p.m. kickoff on ESPN and Fubo TV. Boise State is a strong team. They have some inexperience, hard to ignore. The Broncos lose more than half of their adjusted production from a defense that already ranked outside of the top 40 in the country, adding 5 Power 5 transfers alone at running back and wide receiver gives University of Central Florida a lot of explosive talent that Boise State's young cornerbacks may have a challenge with, and the coaching experience gap will also rear its head down the stretch. If University of Central Florida cements the AAC as a front runner for the group of a 5-bowl bid, we'll see what happens. I would not be surprised at all that Boise State knocks off Central Florida. But it's a tough game for them because it's on the road down in the Florida in the heat and humidity, and sometimes they get the officials that do their thing. Number 4, Ohio State at Minnesota, 8 p.m. kickoff on Fox Sports, also Fubo TV. It's tough to go against the Buckeyes, especially in that conference. Ohio State has won its 6 Big Ten games by an average of 21 points a game last season. And there's a possibility that with a new quarterback under center and plenty of new faces on the spot, the Buckeyes won't be as nearly efficient in the first couple of games this season. Not to mention, this is a road game where Ohio State would be playing in front of fans for the first time since 2019. Still, I don't trust that Minnesota's offense will be able to keep pace over a full 60 minutes. Ohio State, they're favored by 14.5 points. We will see what happens in that matchup. But when you think about Alabama versus Miami and Clemson versus Georgia over the weekend, that's the game really to see. And I also love LSU coming to the Rose Bowl, playing UCLA for the first time. And I think the Pac-12 bragging rights are on the line. Chip Kelly has had his challenges playing LSU in the past. When he was at Oregon, they went down to the Kickoff Classic, had a lot of turnovers, and lost that game to LSU. But this is a better UCLA team, maybe than he's even had at Oregon back in the day. We will see. LSU's also strong. They have a good, talented defense. Offense may not be as strong, but there's a chance that they will play good football. But they are coming out to the Coliseum. And maybe, just maybe, if you think about what's going on in college football, I think you'll find the West Coast will have a better chance of impressing the country and seeing how beautiful the scene is at the Rose Bowl. To do a lot to just let people know there's a new sheriff in town, and his name is Coach Kelly. He has to get that team rolling. They held back all their firepower against Hawaii. But right now it's time! And now, out of the Pac-12, UCLA fighting against the LSU Tigers and Coach Ed Orgeron. I can't wait to see that game because I even put my reputation on the line saying that UCLA is going to compete for a Pac-12 championship this year. They got a chance right now to show you at home in the Rose Bowl, the granddaddy of them all, how they can handle that LSU football team. The last big game UCLA had at the Rose Bowl against the SEC, they beat Texas A&M. They came back and got that game against Texas A&M. Might be a similar type game at the Rose Bowl coming in to this week. It's all fair and love and war. I'm going to change over to a little bit of talk about what's going on in the world of Major League Baseball. My goodness, the Giants, when the Giants come to town, is bye, baby. I know everybody has their own opinion about football and basketball and baseball, what sports they like the most. I like them all. It's like the Big C burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with, what's all this exotic meats? It has a lot of exotic meats. Once you go exotic, you don't go back. Once you have some exotic meat, over and over and over and over again, you say, I'll be back. That's what I said the first time I tasted the Big C burger. I said, damn, it's a tasty burger. With all these exotic meats. And then after I finished chewing on that bad boy, I said, I'll be back. Arnold Schwarzenegger knows what it means to be back. I had the best massage yesterday. I also want to just take a pause to mention at the golf tournament yesterday with Big City Sports in Northern California, I told everybody that I would shoot 10 under par. I didn't shoot 10 under par. I shot 10 over par. But I was right about the number 10. I told them I'll be back. I told them I'll be back. It's off there. 11 war. But I still had a great turn at the Big City Sports golf tournament in Northern California filled with celebrities and people in the mortgage industry. All fair and 11 war. I love Major League Baseball. A beautiful Thursday, September the 2nd, coming up on this beautiful holiday weekend. Going to go into New York City to have the Miami Marlins flying to New York City. Runners on first and third. The pitch hit deep. Left field. Back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friends. It's all fair and 11 war. Pitching on the mound. Keep in mind, pitching on the mound for the good old boys. And the Mets is Carlos Carrasco. And then pay attention to Miguel Rojas at bat. Jeff McNeil. Also, that's my prop betting specialist. I'm going to fly out of New York City. And I told you the story why I love to fly into LaGuardia is because last time I flew into JFK, somebody got my luggage. I know some skycaps that got my luggage because I was missing 12 Big C burgers. They later found my luggage. They said, Charlton, we found your luggage, but we did not find any remnants of the 12 Big C burgers. I said, you didn't find any remnants of the 12 Big C burgers. That's all I had in the luggage. It was all these 12 hamburger things. What's all these exotic meats? They said, well, they can't confirm by the night there were 12 Big C burgers in there. But I know I saw the skycaps eating them. It even heard them chewing on it with the microphone that I had inside. All fair and level war. So flying to LaGuardia, but flying out of LaGuardia into the beautiful state of Florida, Tampa Bay versus Boston. Boston has to get their groove back. They got to get their groove back like Stella got a groove back in the day. Got to get the groove back. Tampa at home. Runners on first and third. Then pitch. Hit deep. Left field. Back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friend. Boston has to find a way to handle these good old boys. Pitching, Shane McClanahan. Keep him in mind. Also at bat, Rafael Devers. And then Brandon Lowe. Those are some names I can give you for the prop bettors. Going to fly out of Florida into O'Hare International in beautiful Chicago. The Cubs taking on the Pirates. Runners on first and second. The pitch. Hit deep. Left field. Back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friend. The Pirates, they got to find a way to win. Not going to get much success in this game. They're 20-47 away. The Cubs are 33-32 at home. They're only 59-75 overall. Pay attention to pitchers. For the Pirates, Mitch Keller. And also for the Cubs, Keegan Thompson. That's a good boy. Has a 3.09 ERA. He's a Jedi Knight. He's a gunslinger. Going to fly into Kansas City, Missouri, where the Royals are 32-33 at home. The Cleveland Indians, they are 31-34 away. On the mound, Tristan McKenzie. Keep that in mind for Cleveland. Cleveland! I love the way LeBron said, Cleveland! Quit burning my jerseys! It's all fair, love, and war. And think about this. Mike Minor, ERA is not the greatest, but he can at sometimes throw strikes. We will see what happens when the Royals are at home. Going to fly into Denver to play the Colorado Rockies. Runners on first and third. The Braves are in town. The pitch. Hit deep. Left field. Back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friend. The Braves are 37-30 on the road. They just got swept by the Dodgers. The first place Los Angeles Dodgers. Now they're first place. Wow. Come on, Giants. The Rockies are 43-22 at home. The away pitcher is Touki Toussaint. He has a 3.60 ERA for the Braves. And then for the home pitching, Chichi Gonzalez, 6.08 ERA. Nothing to write home about. Going to fly into Washington. Going to fly into Washington National instead of Dulles. The Philadelphia Phillies are in town. We have runners on first and third. The pitch. Hit deep. Left field. Back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friend. I'm telling you, Philadelphia has a chance to make some noise in this series. We'll see what happens. Going to fly out of there into Detroit. You're out of there. Fly into Detroit, Michigan. Joe Louis Town, home of the Bat Boys. All fair in Leavenworth, Detroit. Hosting the Oakland A's. Runners on first and third. The pitch. Hit deep. Left field. Back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friend. Frankie Montez on the mound for the A's. The A's need to get this win because they were sleeping a little bit. They were hibernating somewhat as their pursuit for the playoffs get a little bit more daunting. And then Matt Manning, keep that good boy in mind for the Detroit pitching staff. I'm going to fly into San Francisco. I left my heart. You guys can cheer in San Francisco. It is the place that I love when I come home to you. San Francisco. Boo! I want my money back. You suck, man. It's okay to suck. You sing I left my heart in San Francisco. See if you get booed. But at the same time, the Giants, I don't give out scores, but the Giants got their groove back. They are really playing. It's like slow dancing with the Dodgers. They get their groove back. I won't give out scores. Pay attention pitching. Devin Williams on the mound for them good old boys, Milwaukee. And then Tyler Rogers on the mound for the Giants. The City by the Bay. Got to get their groove back. We will see what happens in the world of Major League Baseball. We're going to take what's called the Big C Pulse, also known as the Big C Timeout. When I come back, I'm going to talk a little bit about what's going on in sports. In the words of the great Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. All right, we're back with the Big C Pulse, also known as the Big C Timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on the #1 podcast network in the universe, iHeartRadio Podcast. You can follow Big C Sports on Apple Podcasts. You can follow Big C Sports on Google Podcasts. There's so many apps you can follow, and I really do appreciate the way things are growing with Big C Sports. You can follow Big C Sports on TV, on Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon and Fire TV, and a lot of smart TVs all over the universe. It's great to have a smart TV. Oh, you'll be sitting there looking at a still picture. Man, I really appreciate it. Just going to go down Major League Baseball's top 10 power rankings going into the month of September. Do you remember on the second day of September, all fair and love and war, the #1 Los Angeles Dodgers, they did it thing last night, getting a sweep over the Braves. The Dodgers finished August with a 21-6 record. Their offense slumped a little bit relative to their standards with an average of less than 5 runs per game, but their pitching staff combined, they're all Jedi Knights. They all came from long ago in a galaxy far, far away. Their pitching staff combined for a Major League best 2.25 ERA. That's like throwing with laser beams. They're going to be tough. I mean, it's tough to beat this team. The Caden Kershaw coming back soon. Tony Gosselin took part in simulated games earlier this week. Dodgers manager Dave Roberts came away encouraged by both of those two guys in the rotation. Max Scherzer, Walker Buehler, Julio Urias. Come on, guys. That's a tough team to beat. But when the Giants come to town, it's bye-bye, baby. We'll see what happens if the Giants can come to town. Number 2 in Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings. The Giants rotation, dominant all year, but some discouraging signs have materialized lately. Alex Wood was recently placed on COVID-19. When you placed on COVID-19, that's not good. I think the Giants will rebound, and it's not all feeling well for everybody. But manager Gabe Kapler said Monday, Johnny Cueto, who missed time earlier last month with a flexor strain, gave up 10 hits and recorded only 11 outs. That's not good, but he was under the weather. You know, he had some issues with his health. He'll be back. I still like what the Giants can do. Think about Logan Webb finished August with a 1.41 ERA. He's a Jedi Knight. He's a gunslinger. And he did that in 38 innings. I really like the Giants' chances still, but they got to dance with the Dodgers. Number 3 in Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings. The Tampa Bay Rays, no good old boys from Tampa. Despite their surging Yankees, Tampa Bay still holds the key to the American League East Division race, posting a 20-6 record in August. That's amazing. Even after the trade of Rich Hill, the Rays' 6-man rotation remains the strength of that team. We'll see what happens with Tampa. Number 4, Dusty Baker, the Houston Astros. Number 4 in Big C's Major League Baseball top 10 power rankings. An underrated aspect of the Astros' success this season has been the play of their defense, which has been as good as anyone in baseball. Houston's been trading the top spot defensive runs, save for several weeks. The Cardinals, Rockies, and a couple other clubs. Dusty Baker has the experience. Is this the year that he wrecks the buffet at the Hero Club this morning? We will see what the great Dusty Baker does with the Houston Astros. Number 5 in Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings. Those Brewers, man, the Giants have to get, I'm not going to give out the score, but when the Giants come to town, it's bye-bye, baby, if that makes sense to you. They got things right today. But Milwaukee's only concern right now should be the health of the team the rest of the way. Banged up players from Freddie Peralta, Willie Adams, and Gerardo Escobar have plenty of time to heal up before October. It's all fair and level. That's a good team. Number 6 in Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings, I'm going to say the New York Yankees. I love the Yankees. The pinstripes on the uniforms are amazing. On the West Coast trip, they look like on the West Coast trip they were in pinstripes. But think about the Yankees find themselves above the Red Sox in the wild card race with an offense led by a healthy Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, who carried the team through August. Corey Kluber led. Think about this. From the injured list, he's back in action now. Moving trade deadline acquisition, Andrew Heaney. There's a lot of good things that the Yankees can do. But they got to find a way. Not worry about the Tampa. They just got to stay ahead of my friends from Boston. They got to stay ahead of Boston's all fair and level war. Going to move to number 7 in Big C's Major League Baseball top 10 power rankings. The Chicago White Sox, led by the great coaching of the great Tony La Russa. The White Sox lineup August 1st features CB Zavala, Gavin Sheets, among the best. You know, Adam Engel, Brian Goodwin. By the end of the month, Tony La Russa could fill in his best possible group a high-powered unit that seems. August returns of Yasmani Grandal, Luis Roberts, and Elroy Jimenez, as well as Tim Anderson. I really like Tony La Russa. I met a good old boy at the golf tournament from Chicago yesterday. We talked about how good the Chicago White Sox are under manager Tony La Russa. They're doing their thing. On Big C's Major League Baseball top 10 power rankings, I like the Atlanta Braves. Yes, they were swept by the Dodgers. A lot of teams experienced that. Atlanta finished 18-8 in August, turning a 4-game deficit into a 2-game lead entering September. The great Austin Riley led the way on offense, batting .364 with 6 home runs and 18 RBIs. He did his thing with 6 home runs, hit deep, right field, back to the wall. Home run! 6 home runs. 18 RBIs. George Soler, Adam Duvall combined for 15 home runs as the Braves matched 43 home runs hit deep. Right field, back to the wall, home run! The girls love the long ball, and men love to hit deep as they say hello to my little friend. Max Fried went 4-0 in 5 starts with a 1.36 ERA. That's a good boy Jedi Knight, a gunslinger. Number 9 in Big C's Major League Baseball. Top 10 power rankings. I'm going to bring in the Boston Red Sox from Boston. A COVID-19 outbreak. It actually hit the Red Sox clubhouse at the worst possible time. The team prepares to grind on hold in a spot for the playoff race. Shortstop Xander Bogaerts represented the latest player to get hit with the COVID-19, joining a group of other players in the Red Sox organization. Kristen Royal, Matt Barnes. I mean, it's all fair and love and war. That's still a team that can play good baseball, but we'll see what happens if they can climb that mountain. They're smiling in your face all the time. They want to take your place. They're backstabbers. I'm going to go to Big C's number 10 team in Major League Baseball, top 10 power rankings. Big C's thoughts. The Oakland Athletics. Yes, Oakland. Oaktown, please, Hammer, don't hurt them. Oakland struggled in recent weeks, falling out of the playoff picture in the wild card race with the Houston Astros starting to put some distance between themselves and the rest of the team in the division. Oakland will need to turn things around during this road trip to Detroit and Toronto in order to climb back in the race and compete with the Red Sox and the Yankees for the American League wild card race. It's all fair and love and war. I love the game of Major League Baseball, especially this time of year. Everybody's jazzed about who has a chance to get into Major League Baseball playoffs. You got to get the playoffs. I'm talking about playoffs. Yeah, gotta play hard to get into the world of Major League playoffs. I love everything that's happening in the world of Major League Baseball, especially out on the West Coast, where the Dodgers and Giants, they just look to me like the Dodgers and Giants. They could be the two teams that represent the NLCS. That would be great because it's an easier chance to walk to the Oracle Ballpark in San Francisco and maybe even catch a hitchhike down to I-5 to Chavez. No, don't hitchhike, guys. I'm just joking about that. I'm just joking about hitchhiking. Do not hitchhike on any highway. It doesn't make any sense in love and war. I saw a guy had a sign. He said he needed a ride. He said he had a sign. He wanted to go to downtown San Francisco. The dude looked like Donald Trump. I swear to God, he looked like Donald Trump without a suit. I didn't get that guy right. All fair and love and war. A little bit of news about NFL football. We'll get heavy into that tomorrow. New York Jets assistant Matt Cavanaugh says he hopes to make late friend Greg Knapp proud in the passing. Greg Knapp was my quarterback in college at Sacramento State back in the day. Recruited by the great Bob Maddox. Wish him and his family nothing but the best. He was tragically in a bicycle accident. Nothing but thoughts and prayers to the late Greg Knapp. Good man. Seattle Seahawks signed Baylor basketball standout Mark Vital to practice squads as a tight end. The New York Giants running back Saquon Barkley, he takes the next steps in recovery and competes for first contact in practice. The great Carson Wentz is among 3 players activated off the COVID-19 list by the Indianapolis Colts. Cam Newton was cut because of COVID-19 concerns. Carson Wentz is activated, and he had COVID. You make the call. Former NFL player Keith McCants tragically found deceased in Florida after suspected overdose. What a shame. It's really hard to... It's a shame. Say no to drugs, people. Say no to drugs. It's a shame. The magic and the mystery of the Los Angeles Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert. He's a good old boy. Last year's NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year. It's amazing how people can come out of the Pac-12 and have such success in the NFL, and then we'll tell people, well, the conference isn't very good at football, even though they win the Rose Bowl almost every year, and they still get cheated out of the college football playoffs. The great touchdown Tom Brady jokes about Mike Vrabel is out of shape and has declined to a really sad state. I think he's just poking fun at him. Not everybody eats spinach and salad every day. It's all fair. You eat salad every day, it comes with exotic leaves. Hey, the Big C salad. It's a tasty salad, and it comes with all these exotic leaves. It's all fair. and Level War are really looking forward to a lot of good things happening in sports. I really just appreciate that everybody is enjoying the kickoff ready football season. 5-time Pro Bowl defensive lineman Gerald Casey retires from the NFL after 10 seasons with the Tennessee Titans. The Denver Broncos as well. I hope that everybody can really pay attention to what's going on in the world of college football. There's a lot of good things happening. NFL football is happening. Major League Baseball is fantastic. If you don't like Major League Baseball right now, you really don't like Major League Baseball. I love it all. Just like the favorite part of my chicken, the backside. I love it all. The backside has the most exotic meats. Anybody like the backside of anything? The backside of a mule, the backside of a horse, the backside of the chicken. It's all good. The backside of a people. If they're doing those squats, it looks better in those pants. How you get all that in those jeans? It's all fair and level war. They smile in your face all the time. They want to take your place. They're backstabbers. Don't let backstabbers take your place. They got their own jacked up problems. Some got criminal records. Some got spouses that beat the crap out of them and even moving with the girlfriends. And then people get advice from them. Are you serious? They smiling in your face all the time. They want to take your place. They're backstabbers. I used to give all my friends massages when I was younger, back in the day in college. All the women I knew wanted a back rub. And they didn't even tip after they fell asleep. So deep, put the butt to sleep. They still didn't tip. They smiling in your face all the time. They want to take your place. All friend more. I want to pay homage to my beautiful family on my mother's side, called a Mamo Hattie Leach, also a Pop. I'm going to stand on ovation. My Mamo, great-grandmother called her Hattie Leach, great-grandfather Pop, Negro League baseball player. My grandmother Mudia, grandfather Hezekiah, my beautiful mother Bernice. On my father's side, Albert Curry and Alberta Curry own service stations in Oakland, California, as well as a preacher, many other things in business. And my father Everett. My mother started a preschool reading program in Central California. My father was a retired Air Force pilot and chief mechanic in the Air Force. And then I have myself and my family. Really appreciate that. I love so much about the sports universe. Really appreciate my brothers and sisters, nieces, nephews, aunts, and uncles. We are Espy nominated Big C Sports. It's time. Let's get ready to rumble. I mean that. Everybody rumble. Back in the day, there's a man by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, float like a butterfly and sting like a bee. With all you've got to use, how can you lose? My mother always says there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. If you know any man, woman, or child going through that garbage, pick up the phone and ask for help, because no man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. As we always tell you on every Big C Sports show, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.